When the Taliban moved back into power in Afghanistan as the U.S. was moving out, they promised this time would be different, with no persecution of women, former government officials, or those who helped Americans in the nearly 20-year-long war. Of course, few took them for their word. And in the past few weeks, the Taliban have whipped women at protests, broken up crowds with gunfire, arrested journalists, and over the weekend, a young Afghan man accused them of murdering his mother, a pregnant police officer, in front of her family, an accusation which, of course, they deny. Then yesterday, the Taliban declared Afghanistan an Islamic Emirate and installed a new all-male interim government made up entirely of senior Taliban officials. But in at least one area, Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the administration has been working to make sure the Taliban follows through.
We're holding the Taliban to the commitments that they've made to ensure the free passage and safe travel for anyone who wants to leave Afghanistan, starting with any American citizens who wish to do so, Afghans who worked for us, including the special immigrant visa applicants or visa holders, other Afghans at risk.
We shall see. And the list of those waiting to get out is still tens of thousands long. Among them is my next guest, who's worked on projects with the U.S. Army, the U.S. Agency for International Development, the UN, and more. He's asked us to protect his name and identity, so he's requested we call him Abdul. And Beth Murphy joins me. She's the founder of Principal Pictures, the director of GroundTruth Films here at GBH, and the filmmaker behind What Tomorrow Brings, a documentary about the creation of a girls' school in Afghanistan. Beth, it's good to see you, and Abdul, I really appreciate your joining us.
Thanks for having us, Jim.
Abdul, you and many members of your family, along with dozens of others, were on a bus that made it all the way to the gates of the airport. Then what happened?
Hello, Jim, and hello, Beth. Thank you so much for giving me the chance to be here today and to share about the experience and what happened to us overall, starting from Kabul and being on the bus for over 30 hours with no sufficient food access, water, and of course, sanitary facility, with over 80 people in the bus. And we could make it to the airport after passing through several checkpoints. And unfortunately, due to a circumstance or let's say the misunderstanding of the Taliban, they kicked us out of the airport. And they said only those who has a valid green card or passport holders are allowed to get in, and others were kicked out of the airport, threatened to death, and with those gunfires and putting the gun at them, we had to leave the airport. And afterward, we were advised to take a ground movement to Mazar and be able to catch the evacuation flight from Mazar to out of Afghanistan. And here we are at the moment, somewhere in Mazar,
Abdul,
in hope of evacuated. Yes, sir.
Are your lives at risk? Are you in danger?
Yes, sir. Yes, we are here, a group of almost 100 or above 100 people here. I cannot say the exact number. We are all at risk, at a very great risk, gathered all in a certain place here. I cannot say the name and the location, and everyone who have worked for the U.S. government, green card holders, passport holders, are among these number of people who are counting each and every single moment or second to be able to catch on the plane and be evacuated from Afghanistan.
Abdul, my understanding is the Taliban came looking for you at your office. Is that true?
Yes, sir. Previously, I have worked for several contracts for United States government and assisting U.S. mission in Afghanistan. Since Taliban captured Kabul, they have been to my office twice asking for me and trying to catch me. I have been hidden all this time, and I'm still in a certain place that, like I said, I cannot name it, but yeah, I'm trying to just stay away and to seek every single possibility of getting out of here alive.
Beth, I know you've been working to help Abdul's family and its many members to get out, and others as well. How are you doing this?
So my evacuation efforts really started with the girls' robotics team. I'm a producer on a film about the girls' robotics team for the past couple of years now. We're in post-production. And, there's been a lot of news about the girls, getting out of Afghanistan. But those who were out, they were out alone. Their family members were still stuck inside Afghanistan. So my initial efforts were really focused on getting out the families of the girls' robotics team, as well as some journalists in collaboration with the LA Times and the Center for Investigative Reporting.
When Secretary of State Blinken says things like those with Afghans with valid documents, were his terms, I believe, will be able to get out. My understanding is Abdul does not have a special immigrant visa, nor those documents. With the embassy closed, how does he and his family get the documents that theoretically, according to Blinken, would allow the Taliban to allow his family to leave?
Well, I think the key here is that we didn't see safe passage when the U.S. military was there. As Abdul described, our efforts with the bus were met, with much Taliban resistance. They were firing at the people that we had organized on the bus. And if we could have everybody on the team who participated in the evacuations, so far we've been able to evacuate 96 people. Wow. All the people who were involved in those efforts, you'd have over 50 people on this, interview right now. I can't say enough about our U.S. military and, the people who inside the Kabul airport before the evacuation, before the military left, really putting their lives. There was, one soldier in particular who really put his life on the line to save the people who were on the bus that we had organized for evacuation. Amazing. So this idea of safe passage, it doesn't really exist. The idea that you're going to show up and show the Taliban your green card and they're going to say, okay, hop on the plane. That has not yet happened, and we don't really expect that it will happen in the future.
Abdul, if you heard what Beth said, if she doesn't hold out much hope that will happen in the future, so how is it that you hope to be able to evacuate yourself and your family members?
Well, considering all these circumstances, I believe we're eligible and qualified. P2, it's not only myself, my wife, who have previously been an alumni with American Council. We do hold all those valid documents or legit documents to be able to travel out of the country. And like I earlier mentioned about my work and my wife's work, so we are having valid documents received from the U.S. Embassy asking us to make it to the airport and to be set on a certain flight to be evacuated from Kabul. So we do have our e-visa and pass for accessing to Ishkaya. Yes, sir.
Abdul, you sound from thousands of miles away incredibly calm. Do you not live with constant fear for yourself and the people you love?
Well, we are very much worried, and maybe if I'm talking and trying to stay calm is because I want to actually pass the same message to my family members and others here to actually maintain and stay calm and be hopeful rather than making panic and being disgusted or being actually toxic here. So we are actually living with the fear. We are in a place where every single moment anything can happen to us. We're afraid even to go out to the market. We're afraid to even step out of the place where we are at the moment. Just a few days back, we had a lady who delivered a baby, and nobody could take her to the hospital. Just because everyone was afraid of getting caught or being killed by Taliban here.
Beth, is it realistic to think the United States government, now that it has left the country, can do anything to help Abdul and thousands of others who have been by our side?
It is reasonable. I mean, right now, though, it's the private citizens and NGOs who are filling the gap right now. So, for example, landing rights need to be negotiated with third countries, and that's something that the government should be doing. But right now, some private citizens and NGOs are doing it to try to get planes, in and out. And because once they leave Afghanistan, where are they going to go? They're not going to go directly to the United States. They're going to go to another country. And those countries have to agree to take the planes, and then what? And so there's no really clear direct route to the U.S. right now, as there was when the U.S. military evacuations were happening.
Abdul, you've worked closely. You and your wife have both worked closely with, as you said, with so many pieces of this government and affiliates of this government. Do you feel let down? Do you feel we should be doing more to help you as you've helped us?
Well, we definitely expect not to be left behind. All this time that we have been working here to support the U.S. mission in Afghanistan, in terms of education, in terms of reconstruction of the country, in terms of advocacy and everything. So I have a strong hope we will not be left behind. And so I definitely hope that all our
I lost you there.
and all our support will never be forgotten, and they will never be, I hope.
Abdul, one last thing. Why did you agree to speak with my audience tonight? Why did you want to be here?
I wanted to be here to actually share the insights from here and to share the inside story of what's going on with the number of people in here, those who are suffering lack of food, lack of sufficient water, lack of shelter facility, and evacuated from here. And also the tough time that we are facing here, and everyone expecting to be evacuated. So this is the reason why I wanted to show up tonight and to deliver this message from representing above hundreds of people here.
I think it was a brave and bold act, and I'm really glad you were here. One last thing for you, Beth. For people who want to help, and I assume that includes virtually everybody who is watching the two of you, what can people do?
Well, for the people who are on our list and who we're helping, there is a nonprofit organization that is collecting funding that we are able to send to the families. As Abdul mentioned, there are almost 100 people that we're supporting in the field, and his family is one of them. And it's called the Center for Inquiry. And perhaps we can share that information with the audience to be able to support the families that we're supporting in the field.
Beth, we'll put that on the screen. Beth, thank you for your work. And Abdul, thank you for your courage. And in answer to your comment a minute ago, I think I speak for everybody watching. We will not forget you. And I wish you best of luck in the future, you and your family.